With everything in the world, there's some pros and cons to everything. With finding help for your mental health, there's some pros and cons. With this clip, I'm going to mention the pros. While I was jotting down, I realized the only pro that is there is finding help for yourself, being happy as a person. I think that is the only reason to do this. The only reason to find help is to be happy as a person. But whereas all the cons weigh more than the pros. Let me explain how. To find mental help for yourself, there's some pros and cons. The clip before, I mentioned the pros for it. The pros being happy. Everybody needs to be happy in life. But the cons of it is that it is expensive. Let's just be real about it. Let's just be real about it. As much as we want to be happy as people or want to be healthier, the truth is it is expensive. Not everybody in South Africa just jot it down or boil it down to South Africa. Not everybody in South Africa can afford this. It is one person while I was doing this, they said I should pay 1,000 rand just for that hour. Which I do understand. I won't shoot him down and saying, why did this guy make me pay it or want me to pay him, because I'm doing this for society. But generally, if you think about it, when he's in the office, he's working. He doesn't live close, so he has to drive to Nelspruit to come to me just to see me. So that being said, him being in Nelspruit, he has to make money. So at that point, he wouldn't spend his money because this is my idea. So that I understand. If we jot it down, it is expensive. It's 1,000 rand an hour, and logically enough, you need about 4 sessions in a month. You need to pick one day or 1 hour in a week for you to be healthier or head on to the right path, which is about 4,000 rand a month. Here in South Africa, the minimum wage is about, I think it's 3,500 rand. That's just minimum. That's just minimum. But however, a lot of people are either unemployed or get paid less than that. I know people that work for Indian shops that get paid 1,000 rand a month, 800 rand a month. So that person, I don't think, would sacrifice their whole salary just to get help or mental help. But however, the government has done some implication or has stepped forward, to this. But not everybody knows about this. Where I got help last year, when I got helped about, remember the video confession, I'll put it somewhere here. Confession is the place that I went to was a government hospital. This lady was so amazing, just so sweet, and I paid 20 rand for like 4 sessions. Lady was so sweet, she was so professional, and to be honest, that helped me. But not a lot of people know about this. Not a lot of people know that you can actually get help or mental help from the government or local hospitals. And there's this video that I was watching by Oprah. I'm not sure, I saw it on Twitter, so I can't really put a link below. She was on the Daily Show with Trevor Noah. I can't even put it on this clip because I don't have permission to that. Then a point that she mentioned was that a sister came to her, or they went to someone, then they illustrated or they pointed out all the signs of mental health or mental illness. Then she ticked all the boxes. Then this lady, she was black, she was like, I can't have mental health problems because I'm black. What we face here in South Africa is that a lot of black people believe that they don't have problems with their mental. My friend Makosa-zan, who works at MTN, I don't know if she'll be happy to see this, but she was like, her mother once said, how can you be facing depression if there's food in the house? Like, how can you be facing so many things or so many negative things if you have food in the house? What's your problem? You literally go to people, tell them your problems, and they'll just just brush it off, as if it's nothing. So that is where you need to get proper help, or proper help from a professional. And in South Africa, it is expensive. So I don't really expect everybody to go for it. But however, the government has made or has stepped forward in helping, in trying to help other people. Unfortunately, a lot of black people don't actually believe in finding help with mental health. Thank you for having me.
Sure, Samton.
Okay, welcome to my audience. As I mentioned, I'm a YouTube creator. Basically, a YouTube creator is a person that posts videos mostly for the fun of it. Some people do post for other benefits, but I've been posting YouTube videos for the love of YouTube. Since I went through some depression myself, I feel the need to try and help other people. There was some trauma that happened last year, which I mentioned in a YouTube video, and now I feel obligated to try and help other people. So for my YouTube videos, or my YouTube subscribers out there, what is depression? I think you can explain it better than I can.
Depression, Stanton, is definitely a diagnosis, a mental illness, and it's actually very comprehensive and quite complex, as it can touch a lot of dimensions of your life. Cognitively, it can impair your ability to concentrate, to focus. It can impair the ability to remember, the memory, and of course cognitively it can also contribute to negative, irrational, catastrophic thinking, beliefs, perceptions or interpretations. Interpersonally or socially, it has the ability to make you withdraw, to isolate yourself, to make you feel with a low self-esteem, a low self-worth. Emotionally, of course, depression leads to feelings like emptiness, sadness, helplessness, mostly every day or the biggest part of the day. Yes, and of course it can also touch on your survival, because depression can lead to suicidal ideation, suicidal thoughts, and then of course even to suicide attempts. Physically, it can also influence you a lot, because some people tend to eat much more and gain weight and become obese with depression. Other people tend to lose appetite and lose a lot of weight. Some people tend to suffer from insomnia, struggling with sleep, and others, they will have the need to sleep the whole day. Because one of the symptoms of depression is also the lack of energy, the lack of motivation, and the lack of interest in things you had an interest before. So it can definitely also impact on your daily functioning, like your job functioning, or your studies, or your performance.
That makes a lot of sense. Because in a point you mentioned that in our people we have the stigma of, if someone is gaining weight, we assume that they're happy. You mentioned that some other people tend to go to eating as a way of running away from depression.
Actually, due to their depression, their need for security, They need to eat comfort food.
Makes sense.
They need to sometimes build up a defense with layers of fat. You know, can be part of it.
Such as sugar, things with sugar.
Yes.
Okay, so what causes this depression? What is the main reason behind depression?
I thought about that, and with my 25 years of being a registered psychologist, and I've done more or less approximately between 31,000 and 32,000 individual sessions, I would say, Stanton, the main cause is the negative, irrational or catastrophic thoughts or beliefs or convictions, perceptions and interpretations caused by life itself, life events, incidences, processes which were either stressful, negative or traumatic, and that leads to these feelings, the negative feelings I've described to you, like emptiness, helplessness, sadness, teariness, and destructive behavior, like some of the symptoms I've mentioned to you. Now, these events that can trigger the thoughts and leads to the feelings and the behavior, with time it can create a chemical imbalance, the transference of chemical substances in the brain between neurons, like for instance a lack of serotonin or dopamine, then also creates the depression.
You mentioned serotonin and what?
Serotonin and dopamine.
Which are...
it is chemical substances that's transferred in the brain so that the message can come from the brain towards the central nervous system.
Okay. So dealing with depression, I presume there are some steps to follow.
Oh yes. Now, as my opinion is that it starts with the thinking, the thoughts, the convictions, the interpretations, the observations within a person. I think it's very important to prevent depression by constantly monitor, control or change these thoughts from the negative, the irrational or the catastrophic, to a much more positive, rational, constructive belief or thought. That part called cognitive behavioral therapy is actually a skill that any person can acquire, from young to old. The ability to turn around, to change the thought, to actually put your hands on the steering wheel of your brain or thinking. Yes. So that to me is a very important part. Now, of course, your worldview or your perspective or something like your spirituality, your religion or your belief will assist you in the way you will do it. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. So you mentioned a lot, an example about taking your wheel, right?
Yes.
So if such is not taken, or if such steps are not followed, what could be the consequence of that, or the consequences of that?
Yes, the consequences will then be the mental illness. The consequence will be the mental illness, will be the diagnosis of depression. and the World Health Organization identified depression as, years ago, as one of the top 3 potential killers of humankind. So that is the consequences to experience the symptoms, either cognitively or emotionally or biologically, somatically or socially, as it's a very comprehensive and complex illness.
Just to jump back a little bit, just to backtrack a little bit, there's what are some other preventions or ways to prevent mental health or depression?
Yes, I'm glad you're asking the question, Stanton, because in this busy, rushed world we find ourselves in, I think it's quite important for you and your brain to make time for yourself, to make a little quiet time for yourself, to take short breaks, and sometimes even longer breaks if it's affordable. Therefore, I would love to bring in something about mindfulness in the prevention of depression. As mindfulness is your ability to have an open concentration, open attention and focus on the here and now, rather than dwelling in the past or anticipating the future, which is stealing our quality, to cultivate your awareness and to cultivate your ability to really be fully present in the here and now. That can really heighten your quality, and that can really even heighten your levels of happiness. Then do not underestimate the power of a healthy lifestyle. You know, to eat, to drink healthy, to sleep healthy, to do exercise at least thrice a week for at least half an hour a time, a healthy living style, to deal in healthy ways with to manage your stress in healthy ways can also prevent distress. So therefore, to bring in routine, to bring in planning, to avoid procrastination. Procrastination can be caused by depression on the one hand, but on the other hand, procrastination can also lead to depression. So therefore, I think to manage your stress and to manage your day, to bring in mini days, for instance, that can also help you in the prevention. Communication. Talk about inner conflict. Talk about something that's bothering you. Don't get stuck in defense mechanisms like repression or denial. To trust somebody, you know, in order to communicate. Otherwise, if you repress your unresolved issues, your unresolved inner conflicts, stays well and alive in the deep cellars of your subconscious mind. Now, if stress comes, it's like throwing a stone in water, a heavy stone, and it will immediately have a ripple effect on the surface of the water. And this stone, if it's heavy enough, if the stress is heavy enough, will sink to the bottom of the dam or the lake. And if there's mud, it will loosen up the mud, and the color of the water will change. So your repressed stress, your repressed conflicts will definitely come up to the surface if you don't deal with it or if you don't communicate it. Be self-assertive, otherwise you will find yourself in the passive position of being the victim, because you didn't voice your opinion, you didn't tell your feelings, you didn't verbalize your feelings, and that puts you in a very negative, losing, winning position. You feel as if the other party or the other person or the other institution, they're winning the whole time and you're losing. So it's very important to become more assertive and to take yourself out of the potential victim position.
Yes. I understand very well. You mentioned a lot of points, but since we live in South Africa, the minimum wage in South Africa is 3,500 rand. Then I know people that work at smaller shop or retail shop that earn about 800 rand. And here in South Africa, if you're seeking for help, an hour of psychologist is about 1,000 rand.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need about 4 sessions a month, which is about 4,000 rand.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the solutions for the people that earn so little? Because I don't imagine if I earned 800 rand, I don't imagine myself going or finding seeking for help, sorry. So what are the solutions for other people who are less fortunate?
Absolutely. There the emphasis will shift towards prevention rather than cure, and then all those aspects which we've spoken about will come into play in order to prevent depression. But otherwise, I can recommend to talk to a friend, somebody you can trust, maybe your pastor or reverend or social worker or counselor at school, counselor at work, somebody you can really trust the integrity and the wisdom of that person, because your dilemma, and that is why many people come to see a psychologist, is the confidentiality, to keep it confidential. But otherwise, I would recommend an antidepressant. It's always the ideal to combine medication, like an antidepressant, with therapy, but if there's no finances, you know, that is a consideration to take only the antidepressant, at least to be able to treat your symptoms. Absolutely. Or you can try to make an appointment. A lot of our state hospitals do have a psychology and psychiatry department. So there is a channel to get help via them. They prefer a referral from a medical doctor, but that is also a possibility. Or to go for a once-off to a medical doctor who can prescribe. But then there's also the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, the SADAG, okay, SADAG. Their helpline number is 0800 456 789. So they have a 24-hour helpline, and there's quite a lot of other forums that can also offer that telephonic service. But really, to become mindful can be a huge step for those people who cannot afford therapy. A very simple technique they can try, and that was said by the well-known author Eckhart Tolle, who wrote The Power of the Moment and A New Earth. He said, if you can take, in a very conscious, awareness way, 3 breaths a day. Once a day, to take 3 conscious breaths, like breathing in, breathing consciously out. But perhaps close your eyes, breathing in, breathing out again. To almost feel the gift of breathing.
Yes.
To feel how your body does it for you. That can shift you. If you can keep to it for a year, that can shift you in a more positive and mindful direction. Of course, to try to find your calling, your mission or your niche in life, to become proactive again, that can add to your sense of meaning, okay, in life. To forgive. If you need to forgive, okay, it's very important to attend to it, because unforgiveness can keep you in depression, or any feelings of hate, bitterness and revenge can maintain a depression. Then, as I said, to work with the mind, to acquire the skill of cognitive behavioral therapy, for our people who can't afford therapy, I would really advise them to Google CBT, and then to use positive affirmations like I form part of a bigger plan, or I might feel depressed today, but I will feel better again, or let me bring myself back to the here and now. Let me make the past, okay, and let me not stick with the anticipation of the future. Bring yourself back to the here and now. Those are the things people can work at who cannot afford therapy.
I understand very well. It makes a lot of sense, because I think just trying to cure self is also a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Earlier on we mentioned...
But self-medication can be dangerous.
Yeah, we need to be recommended.
Yes.
I understand. We mentioned food. So can a diet lead or help you face depression?
I once spoke to a lady, Dr. Vanzyljd, who was qualified as a dietitian as well as a clinical psychologist.
Okay.
And she definitely emphasized the relation between the food we eat and, for instance, our moods.
Yes.
Say, for instance, you suffer with a low sugar levels,
yes.
okay? Or say, for instance, you really feel hungry and your sugar levels drop. That can immediately make you more irritable. And by the way, Stenton, irritability / aggression often is the other side of the coin of depression. So yes, definitely the food we take play a huge role, but there it will be great if you can interview a dietitian too on that subject.
I'll try to work on that. Yes. So you just say, if you're a dietitian, I'm interested in working with you. So since I think we've touched almost everything, do you have any last comments, something that we didn't tackle?
Yes, there's definitely help for depression. You don't need to stay a victim of your depression. You have the ability to take control back, to at least control the controllables and let go of the uncontrollables. You can even live with depression, but you can become empowered in order to manage it.
Okay.
so that you can fulfill your potential, and that your functioning, your level of functioning and achievement can heighten.
Thank you very much for everything, Dr. Jacob. So for my people or my viewers out there, if they're interested in finding you, where can they find you?
Yes, I have a website, www.Jacobdvanzylpsychologist.coza, and our landline is 013-752-2000, and our email is vanzyljd@telcomsa.net.
Thank you very much. I'll try to link everything down below. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Sid.
I think with that.
Thanks.